like it so. Said you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. Yeah, that's that me espresso. Yeah, that's that me espresso. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna play League of Legends. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna play League of Legends. Yeah, I'm gonna play League of Legends. So I'm not expecting tier 1 gameplay from me. Uh, he is so Chad-like. I don't like Morgana. She's a trick ass word. And can I get this out of here? Thank you. And she got no skin for her, but I don't got a skin for Kai'Sa. I do want to get a skin for Kai'Sa. I like playing Kai'Sa. I just recently started playing her because I didn't want to play Miss Fortune after K got banned. And my boyfriend was like, "Oh, you should play Kai'Sa. You should play Kai'Sa." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I tried her. She's pretty cool. I'm not the greatest at her in terms of like um perfect. Uh, I think I'm good with her in combat, but not good enough. Like I don't know why I can't do the CS farming very well. I'm not exactly sure, but for now, uh, for now we got this. For now we got this. If the game will ever start, everybody low key got the base skin. He got the base skin. She got the base skin. We all had base skin. Wait, why? That's crazy. Why? What does it say about us? Is this game ever gonna start? Holy crap. This mess never gonna start. I'm gonna try to keep the cursing to a minimum. I don't know why. I just feel like I curse a lot. So let's try and keep this stuff to a minimum. Gosh darn it. Dang it. Mother, 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 orgalorg. Alright, we're up. I'm a bit tired today. I can show why.
I am on your side, and we fight to the bitter end.
My brain gets a little fuzzy. Every night I'm not sober. Well, every morning and the night before I'm not sober. My brain gets a little fuzzy. It's just the aftermath.
Summoner's Rift.
Alright.
Feed the beast.
Nobody is ready for me.
30 seconds until minions
Nobody
spawn.
is ready for this. My Viego just said good luck to me earlier before. I'm not exactly sure why.
This skin is fashioned for survival and honed by instinct.
Yeah, exactly. What she just said. Something like that, I think. Yeah.
Minions have spawned.
A little
It's
tap.
fight or flight. Only now I do not run.
Alright.
Get up. Stand firm. Strike.
First things first, huh? Right off rip. No fucks given off rip, I see.
Monsters are everywhere.
Can't leave. I'm just fully rooted. My Vel'Koz is... awesome.
I return stronger than I left.
Yo, just get out of here, man. Just go, twin.
Survival means the void knows that too. I can make a difference here.
This shit's so gay. Bitch. Oh my god!
Don't die. I came for the hunt.
God fucking damn it.
You're the hunted.
Got her. Nice! Nice, 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 nice. Oh shoot, I'm getting beat up. I'm getting beat up. I'm getting beat up. I think I'll be good to farm here. Oh. Alright, ooh, Lilia coming down. I gotta go. She running in this direction right now. I know damn well she running in this direction right now. Alright, that was good. That was good. I got my kill off.
I'm going to save it.
I got my kill off. Very good. Viego, thank you. Thank you, Viego. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Alright. We're chilling. We're chilling right now. We're doing well. Again, I think I just need to focus on the farm. I'm just butt.
Danger is real. Fear is feed the beast.
Ain't nothing I could do, bro.
An ally has been slain.
Oh my god, Mel, bro.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Others who could not.
We just can't fight her yet because it's damn Lilia. I need some wards up here.
An ally
Or
has
something
been slain.
like... Nice try. Nice try.
I survived the void, but here is where my story has its best end. It's a good day for a hunt. I wield the abyss.
Just leave. Please be very careful. have the fucking materials for this right now.
Forgiveness is hard, but so very well.
Alright, I gotta go.
An enemy has been slain.
I don't really have the capacities to live here. Unfortunately, they take some
This world
parts
is
of my
changing.
tower doing this.
We decide who to watch.
But I need to leave. I'm too low to fight. Hopefully if they stay too long. Oh yeah, they're gonna stay too long. Oh yeah, she's gonna get shot up. Oh shit, this thing was in the way. It's Morgana cheesing me. She pissed me off. I'm about to murder her.
An enemy has been slain.
Kaisa, remember the name.
Oh, nearly girl.
I was spared for a reason.
Can I get some damn wards up in this? Like, damn girl, I can't see nothing.
This is our purpose. Learn from me. Exploit their weakness. This is Anselm.
It's like a combo thing they got going on here.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Enemy
And
killing
I'm
spree.
out. And I run away now. They're about to take. Watch out, bro. They're about to take. Fuck.
Trees.
Alright. Hold up. Why does she even have 3 kills? I don't even know.
Strike hard.
Just
Make their mistakes.
kill.
Two down. Hold our ground. Attack them and theirs.
Turret plating will fall soon.
Alright, she's back. Both of you could have gotten her. I mean, I was a little low, so I guess that's true. I think I think I may have fumbled. I think. And we need to ward dragon, or they're gonna take it.
Time to hunt.
There you go.
A moving target lives longer.
Well, that's facts. That's facts, Loki. That's facts.
Stay alert.
An ally has been slain.
Wait, did nobody die there?
An enemy has been slain.
That's crazy to me.
It's an instinct we all have.
Oh no, she did that. Good.
This skin lives on me and hunts me. I will make a difference here. This skin is fashioned for survival and honed by instinct.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Bro, is my chick serious?
It's fight or flight, only now.
Enemy killing spree. Enemy double kill. An ally has been slain.
Why are we surrendering? Why? Why? We are not losing. I'm just kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place right now.
Strike hard.
Ah,
Destroyed.
fuck me. I got nothing to do here. I can't do anything.
Your turret has been
They
destroyed.
would take the shit anyway. Fucking fuck. Alright, I got this. I got this. They took referral. Viego is fucking around top, doing objective and stuff, getting his jungle. Whatever.
In the void, I had no one. I was a doomed outsider. Here, people are everywhere,
Okay.
and they are all.
Yeah, no,
mine.
it's totally winnable. I think, in my opinion. I think it's definitely winnable. I don't know what is wrong with this guy. This guy, I ain't never seen a ward come out his body, bro. Let me see something. I can't see nothing.
Tell yourself you will live. Believe it, Kai'Sa, and you will have a chance.
An ally has been slain.
couldn't I ult?
Enemy double kill. Your turret has been destroyed.
Bro,
An ally has been slain.
why couldn't I ult? I swear I hit her with the W and I pressed R after the stun. Why could I not ult? What is this, bro? What is this game, bro? This game's so bad.
An ally has been slain.
Holy shit, the entire team is fucking dead.
Not weigh us down. Men love life's necessities.
Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down.
That's three.
Fuck, I'm gonna fucking run. Yeah, bro, now it's over.
I like it here. I just might stay.
Yes, we FF. Unfortunately, I don't actually think this team's very good. But
Defeat.
I blame my jungler and nobody else. Then I'm gonna honor her. B plus. No, I'm not very good at Kai'Sa quite as yet. I do like her though. She is fun to watch or fun to play, but I'm just not very good at her, obviously. Since nothing lasts forever, nothing lasts forever, nothing sticks together. I'm sitting and doubting. Let me figure this out. Alright, this is it though. This is mine. Am I banning? Oh, Ash.
How may you die with your eyes closed?
Obviously. Who banned Caitlyn again, bro? Who? No, I'm not playing jungle. Fuck no. Vicky Boo, I don't know how to play jungle. I don't know how to play it. I'm not gonna say that. Piss me off, bro. School? Bruh, my friend texts me. He leaving for school, bro. Like, come on, bro. Who go to school nowadays? It ain't me.
Are you the
Yes, I
hunter or the prey?
am. Wish I was just rich and a billionaire. I'm ranting. I hate this game. This game is... I play Kai'Sa again. Who wants to watch the Attack on Titan iceberg video with me? You guys want to have that in the background? Let's have this in the background while I play. Yeah, it's a casual stream. You know, we do things like that here. Let's do. It's crazy. Literally such a crazy intro. Crazy search thing. Yeah, this is literally what I watch. I got Cena Kizzle, I got the Wait concept, got the Good Mythical Morning, random shit, got some Berleezy moments. Yeah, honestly, bro, I think I'm just everything I got in here is peak, and I'm just such a good person for having it here. Alright, guys, let's play Kaisa gameplay. Kaisa!
It currently is wrapping up its anime, and the manga has been finished for about a year.
Oh yeah.
The iceberg is a list of theories or topics that are listed based on how obscure they are.
Yep. Whatever he said.
Today we will be looking at the Attack on Titan.
I got some commentary about Attack on Titan too. I think that the anime is horrible and it should fail. It should fail. It should but.
Also, I'm going to be skipping some entries just because I don't find them interesting. And
I don't find you very interesting either.
First layer because this video is already long enough. However, I will be talking about one subject that is within the first layer, and that is Aaron's dream. Manga spoilers. In the first chapter of Attack on Titan, we see Aaron wake up from a dream that contains Mikasa.
You know that
Upon seeing
feeling when your
Mikasa
skin
as a child,
cools?
he asks, "When did your hair become so long?" This
I gotta put the volume up a little bit. I can't hear his ass.
In Aaron's dream may actually have been him seeing the future. A future in which Mikasa has shorter hair. We actually see this panel later on when Mikasa says, "See you later, Aaron." It's the panel where she kills him. Isayama has been known for foreshadowing, and this is one of my favorite examples of that. The first chapter of the manga contains a panel all the way from the second last. Future Aaron in Season 1. There are a few screenshots from the anime in Season 1 that contain a character in the background that looks a lot like Aaron from Season 4. This may be intentional, but I kind of doubt it, to be honest. And if it is, it really doesn't make any sense. Aaron and Zeke do travel back at one point in pads, but that type of traveling would make Aaron invisible to himself, so it doesn't really make much sense that he can see his future self. Armin's parents were killed by the MP. Armin's parents are rarely mentioned. His grandfather, who died while trying to take back Wall Maria, is seemingly more important to him. However, how did his parents die? Well, Isayama has said that they once tried to escape the walls in a hot air balloon, and they were seemingly killed by Dial Sanes, the person Levi and Hanji were torturing that one time. This makes sense given the fact that they gave Armin a book, something illegal within the walls, and they were seemingly very interested in leaving the walls and seeing the outside world, something that they passed on to Armin. Spelling Bertolt correctly. This is more of an internet joke about how hard it is to spell Bertolt. There are some memes about it, but it isn't really mentioned in Attack on Titan itself. AoE, manga spoilers. AoE stands for anime only ending and refers to the fact that Attack on Titan may end differently in the anime. It's no secret that many don't like the ending of Attack on Titan, and so some believe that the anime will change it. I kinda doubt this, however. So far the anime has been almost exactly the same as the manga, and it's showing no signs of changing. Some have theorized alternate endings, such as Aaron completing the rumbling, or Aaron somehow surviving and keeping Marley away from the island until he dies due to Ymir's curse. But once again, I doubt this will happen.
Hold up,
Reiner's weight loss. During the 5-year time skip, Reiner loses 12 kilograms, or 26.5 pounds. Some people say this is due to his depression, and some say it's due to Ymir's curse, which quickly kills people. And so Reiner is losing weight due to his body decaying. This has never been officially explained, however, and I kind of doubt it will be. Captain Levi. Okay, this is a little weird. So apparently in some of the early translations of the AOT manga, Levi was translated as Revi, or sometimes Rebai. The reason for this is that the katakana for Levi's name is Re, followed by Ba, followed by I. And so some interpreted this as his name being Revi.
No,
however, it obviously isn't, and this has been confirmed by the anime and the official translations for the manga. Kodorain. Kodorain is a drug in the Attack on Titan universe. It's shown in the visual novel Wall Sheena Goodbye and the side story, Attack on Titan Lost Girls. The drugs are created by Carly Stratman. Stratman is a chemistry teacher?
Whoa! Breaking Bad reference.
But the drug is mostly made out of morphine and is sold throughout the Stohess district. Original Peak. Peak is a character introduced in Season 4. She's one of the warriors, being the Cart Titan. She is one of the characters who looks the least like her Titan, as in she looks nothing like her Titan. Peak's original design was a man, who looked a lot more like the Jaw Titan, but this idea was scrapped by Isayama in favor of the female Peak design. This may be due to the fact that without Peak, there would only be one female warrior, being Annie. World map. There's a panel that is seemingly the world map of the Attack on Titan universe. The land has been segregated to show which empire owns what, but eventually people notice the map is literally just our normal world but flipped around. This means that Marley's land is equivalent to Africa and most of Europe, compared to Parody, which is only the size of Madagascar. Before the Fall. Before the Fall is a manga based on a light novel of the same name. It's meant to be a prequel to Attack on Titan, following a boy named Kuklo. Apparently the light novel is quite good, but the manga is a bad adaptation. But don't listen to me, I haven't read it. Ymir had no name. This is talking about how before Ymir was taken by that Eldian religious organization to be the fake descendant of the founder, she didn't have a name. This could also be referring to the fact that Ymir never changed her name like Historia did with the fake name Krista. Sasha was going to die earlier. This refers to the fact that Sasha was actually meant to die when she was saving Kaya. One of Isayama's editors, however, enjoyed Sasha so much as a character that he requested Isayama to keep her in. And he did. Later on, after the time skip, Isayama needed a character to kill. He considered John or Connie, but ended up fulfilling the destiny of Sasha dying.
Crazy.
Little side theory. As you may know, Sasha's final words were meat. However, it may have actually been Nicolo, her love interest. Meat in Japanese is Niku, and Nicolo in Japanese is said Nikuro, and so she may have actually been saying his name. This is contradicted by the English translations,
little
however,
bitch.
and probably isn't true.
Got him!
Hizuru is Australia. Hizuru being Australia comes from the previously discussed world map,
Alright, I'm leaving.
in which the Hizuru Empire is within our world's Australia and half of Asia. This theory also suggests that perhaps Hizuru began in Australia and expanded to Asia. Chibi 4 Coma. Chibi 4 Coma was a series of short chibi comics that were released alongside Attack
Is this
on
Attack on
They're a bit
Titan,
hard
like,
to find now,
lore?
and some of them are actually completely
Or
lost,
is it
as
just,
they were
it's
on
just
the
random
original
shit?
Shingeki
It
no
sounds
Kyojin
like it's just
website,
random shit.
but they can no longer be found there, and so the only way you can read it is through screenshots people took at the time. South American Marley. Once again, according to the Attack on Titan map, Marley owns a very small part of South America. This may be yet another expansion to their quest to colonize all the land around them. Parody geography. I'm not 100% sure what this is referring to. If you have any ideas, leave them in the comments, because I really can't find anything. Tom Zaver in Season 3. In the Season 3 episode in which the secret of the basement is revealed, we see a flashback to Grisha and his sister as children where they run through Marley. They bump into a man who seems to recognize them, and this person looks extremely similar to Tom Zaver, the Beast Titan. Ironically, this man would go on to be somewhat of a father figure to Zeke when Grisha never could be. This is similar to the Eren in Season 1 theory, but way more confirmed. Attack on Schoolcasts. Attack on Schoolcast is a side story that is published along with every volume of Attack on Titan. It follows the Attack on Titan characters in modern day with no Titans. They seem to be mostly jokes, but what I think is interesting is that it actually does add a bit to Eren's character. As Isayama has said, the Eren in this story is how Eren would react when he was put in this situation. And so we see that Eren is very bored with his life, almost as if he wishes for an apocalypse, just like what he says about his desire to destroy the world in the manga. We'll talk about this later. Elements of Before the Fall are canon. I'm not really sure what this means because Isayama has apparently confirmed that the entirety of Before the Fall are canon, not just elements of it. AOT2 Protagonist. AOT2 is a video game in which you control a character exclusive to that game. The character is unnamed, and most of what occurs to him is decided by you. The only thing that is absolute is that his family is killed by Titans after the fall of Walmaria.
Fuck outta here.
Non-white Eldians. This refers to the fact that we don't really see any non-white Eldians. This may be because the original Eldians seem to be all white and they rarely mix with other races. We do know that some Eldians aren't white, however. Mikasa is the biggest example that comes to mind, with the people who killed her parents calling her rare due to her possibly being the only non-white person on the island. Season 2 ED foreshadowing. Manga spoilers. The Attack on Titan Season 2 ED is very memorable in my opinion due to how creepy it is. The visuals are all disturbing and show the true horror of the Titans. The song Yuguri no Tori, Evening of the Bird, by Shinsei Kamada-chan plays in the background, and while it is a banger along with most Kamada-chan songs, it is undeniably a bit off-putting. It contains lyrics that foreshadow events that hadn't even happened in the manga yet. At this point, the manga was within what would become Season 3 of the anime, and yet the events discussed happened far later. For example, one lyric, surely coming morning and he'll say hello, to expand another hand to the side of the other town, surely not accustomed to divert alone. This lyric seems to talk about Eren's leaving of Parody for Marley. Another example is go to meeting place, sing alone. This may refer to the ending where Mikasa goes to the tree where her, Armin, and Eren went as kids. However, this time, she's all alone. Also, the visuals literally display the rumbling and things like the founder Ymir. It's clear from this ED that Isayama had certain events of the story planned out very early on. Sorry this section was a bit long, I just really love this song.
I have an idea.
ED. Marley is the Roman Empire.
I can't teleport
Marley
anymore.
heavily represents the Roman Empire, from what I can tell. I don't actually know a lot about the history
I
of
hit him.
Rome, but from what I can research, there are many parallels between the Roman Empire and Eldia, which are like the Germanic tribes they tried to colonize. The history of wars and takeovers between the two empires is apparently similar. Sorry if I'm wrong about anything, this is just what I could find online. True scale of the rumbling. I'm not 100% sure what this is referring to, but I think it's talking about how much area the rumbling covered.
Oh,
and how
she
many
did him.
Titans were
She
involved.
did him
Apparently, someone
dirty.
calculated that 585,000 Titans are a part of the rumbling, and assuming that Earth is the same size in AOT as it is in real life, just those Titans alone are enough to cover 1/4 of the world. Mid-East Alliance is the Ottoman Empire. Once again, a theory about a region of the world I don't know too much about. Apparently, the Mid-East Alliance in Attack on Titan is similar to the Ottoman Empire. The fighting style and
W.
outfits and weapons used by the Mid-East are similar to the Ottoman Empire in World War I, and therefore people draw the conclusion that they're parallels of each other. Karl Fritz was evil. Karl Fritz was the king who destroyed the Eldian Empire. He believed that the gigantic Eldian Empire was too powerful and too hated, and so he decided to put his people on parity and hoped that this would make hatred for the Eldians go away. Spoiler alert, it didn't. King Fritz's idea was extremely stupid and ended up causing the downfall of Eldia, and therefore, the downfall of the world. This has led some to call Fritz the true villain of Attack on Titan due to his terrible idea, and some even say that he wanted Eldia to be destroyed. Muv-Luv Alternate. Muv-Luv Alternate is a video game released in 2006 that Attack on Titan takes heavy inspiration from. Specifically, the
Alright, I
beginning
think
of
we're
the
doing pretty
manga
well
is
right now.
especially similar. In both,
I'm
there
locked
are
into the
creatures who
video,
attack
okay.
humanity and a military to fight back. The rankings in schools are also very similar. Aspects like character deaths and a lack of general plot armor are also seen in both.
I'm not too
Hallucigenia.
scared of
A
either
hallucigenia
of
is a
them.
real-world animal used in the world of Attack on Titan. In real life, the hallucigenia was the creature that lived in the Cambrian era, and is sometimes thought to be the creature that gave birth to life as we know it today. In Attack on Titan, the creature gave Ymir some kind of ability, seemingly in her spine. It's maybe why Titan's spinal fluid is important. And that ability transformed Ymir into a Titan, which can be seen as creating life for the characters in Attack on Titan
see if I
as
can get
they
this,
know it.
this kill right here, and
manga
then
spoilers. Ancient Titans is most likely referring to the Titans from decades prior that we don't often see in AOT. The only scene these past Titans appear in is on the Rumbling Titan when we see the Alliance fight them. Another place they appear in is the Season 2 intro, and it's interesting to think how the series would be different with a dinosaur Titan. How did the Eldian race come to be? We know very little about how the nation
yeah,
of
it's
Eldia
over.
began. From what we see, in ancient times, it began as a primitive and relatively small empire. They utilized many slaves and were extremely cruel to
Very
any
good.
wrongdoers. The race grew exponentially once Ymir gained the Titan ability. From there, they conquered the islands and areas around them with the same cruelness. Some people also theorize that characters like the ancient King Fritz represent the devil, and the Titan ability represents the temptation
I'm
of
about to
the
say,
apple.
stop typing, play the
Berserk
game.
mode. Berserk mode references a weird occurrence that happens in Season 1 of AOT. We see in the final battle with the female Titan, Aaron's attack Titan suddenly begins glowing and heating up. He also seems to lose control over the ability and go, as the name suggests, berserk. What's odd is this is never really followed up on or elaborated. A few theories suggest that Aaron was in control, but he was just so enraged it seemed like he wasn't. Some say this ability took too much energy and therefore was never used again. Some say it was too dangerous, as this did lead to the deaths of hundreds or even thousands. And finally, the most substantiated theory is that when a user becomes a Titan, they have the will of all previous Titans within them. We see this with other examples, such as Reiner, who seems to be completely different within his Titan. Aaron says in this scene, "I will destroy the whole world," which as we know is his personal will. But the will to fight on and to kill his enemies no matter what is also the will of the Attack Titan. None of these theories are substantiated, and I doubt we will ever receive an answer for what this scene meant. Poopy pants. Okay, so what I'm pretty sure this is referring to is in an interview with Isayama where he says that due to the ODM gear used in Attack on Titan, the characters
Ow!
all have streaks in their pants. Yeah. Texas.
What?
Okay, so what this is most
What
likely
kind of
referring to
fucking
is a
lore is
pop-up
that?
shop based on Attack on Titan that was opened in Texas. It seemed to come out of completely nowhere, and many people on apps like TikTok went to it and showed off what was inside. It was pretty cool, but no one really knows why it was specifically in Texas. Mr. Leonhardt's appearance. I
know
believe
why.
what this is referring to is how Annie's father, Mr. Leonhardt's appearance, changed from Season 1 to Season 4. We see this most notably in terms of his skin color, with it being much darker in Season 4. His hair is also a different color. This is most likely to better represent his manga appearance, as his race is mildly ambiguous. It still is a bit odd, however, that they ended up changing his hair color. Nier Automata parallels. So, I plan on playing Nier in the near future. so I don't want to do too much research on this. Apparently there are similarities between Nier and AOT. Both take place in this kind of apocalypse-ish world, and also 2B and Mikasa are apparently similar. They even share the same Japanese voice actor. Sorry I couldn't go 100% in depth on this. Foreshadowing in Junior High. AOT Junior High is a comedy show based on AOT, and it was released around when Season 1 of AOT was. It follows the AOT characters in Junior High in a more modern world. There is, however, a good bit of foreshadowing in this show. Some include Bertolt and Annie wearing masks that look like they're Titans, Historia not being able to find Ymir and Sasha, 2 people that died that she was extremely close to, and finally Frida Rice straight up just being in the show. Volume 0 is an alternate universe. AOT Volume 0 is the first one-shot that ended up becoming the Attack on Titan that we know today. The volume contradicts what we know in AOT pretty heavily, and so some theorize that this is an alternate universe. For example, the manga takes place in Japan, and the Titans were actually a failed experiment by a religious organization. Some also say that perhaps this is what happens at the end of AOT, and the universe just keeps repeating itself, except slightly differently. Riko is a Jaegerist. Riko is a character in AOT that many remember due to how little she appeared. You may actually remember her due to her white hair as well. She never appears after the return to Shiganshina arc, and no one really knows why. One theory is that Isayama said Riko is based off his ex-girlfriend, and so perhaps he didn't want her to reappear due to bad memories. However, it's possible that she does reappear. In a group of Jaegerists at one point, we see her in a crowd. If she did become a Jaegerist, that's ironic considering her teaming up with Titans at the beginning of the series. But there is no evidence that this necessarily is her. Mirror Man is Mikasa. Manga spoilers. Okay, so Mirror Man in general is a bit of a weird thing. From what I understand, the Mirror Man was this guy who approached Mikasa at a festival and began talking about the unfairness of the world and how cruel everything is around them. He also said that there was no way to prevent Eren's death. This takes place before we knew that Eren was a Titan, but after he was beaten, so at this point in the story, Mikasa thought that Eren was dead. It turns out, however, that this was all a dream. But there are some theories that the Mirror Man is Mikasa from the future, somehow forcing herself to accept the fact that she will one day kill Eren. Some also say that it's Eren coming back from the future and telling her this, and that he put on this outfit so that she wouldn't recognize him. The entire OVA is hard to understand, especially with what we know now, and I can't really find any answers online. If anyone knows anything else, leave it in the comments. Levi's unknown cleaning. This refers to the fact that Levi is obsessed with cleaning and becomes very upset when the scouts don't do a good job. This has become a meme online, but no one really knows why he's so obsessed. One theory is that he grew up in poverty and so he doesn't want to live in that same filth that he once did. Euthanasia was the only peaceful option. This refers to how Zeke's euthanasia plan may have been the only way to solve the Marley-Eldia war without any killing. The plan would be completely peaceful, and hopefully would not result in Marley attacking Paradis. We will never know if this is true, however, because Eren didn't accept the peace at the cost of his freedom. And even towards the end, Zeke realized that this plan would never work. Attack on School Cast is canon. I believe that this means that the side story previously discussed is actually what happens in the AOT world. It's known that School Cast must be somewhat canon, as characters like Goth Mikasa appear in the anime. We'll discuss another theory similar to this later and go more in depth. Soundtrack's weird naming scheme. This is referring to how many of the older soundtracks in Attack on Titan were named pretty weirdly. A lot of them were normal names, but they had weird lettering. Here's an example of that. Some of them are in different languages other than English and Japanese. An example is Volgert im Kafig, which translates to bird in the cage. There are some that need to be deciphered, like XL-TT, which most likely means Colossal Titan, or Extra Large Titan. Recently though, the names have become more normal. Like the Season 4 Part 2 intro literally just being called The Rumbling. Come on, guys. Titan genocide was exaggerated. This refers to the ancient Eldian Titan genocide against other races being extremely exaggerated. Both sides exaggerate details, with some Eldians suggesting that nothing happened and some Marlians suggesting that they nearly wiped out the world. From what Grisha says, we know that it was somewhere in between. This means that the Marlians are indoctrinating children with lies about the Eldian Titan genocide, and that may be why they hate Eldians so much. Eren never cared about freedom. Manga spoilers. This is a theory that Eren's obsession with freedom was a front he put on to try to justify his natural urges to destroy the world. We see a panel where Eren says that he just wants to destroy the world and he doesn't know why. We also see him say that he was disappointed that life existed outside the walls. This theory states that he just wanted to kill and used the freedom excuse to make it seem better than it was. Manga ending greenlight feelings. Surprisingly, this part doesn't actually have manga spoilers. I believe this refers to what I talked about earlier with Eren seeing his future in a dream at the beginning of the series. theories. If I'm missing something, let me know. Erwin's sacrifices were always unnecessary. This theory suggests that perhaps all of Erwin's sacrifices were unnecessary. We see many times in the series that Erwin's willing to sacrifice soldiers to get to his goal of the basement. The biggest example of this is his final charge, where he sends almost all of his scouts to death. This was to give Levi an opportunity to kill the Beast Titan, which doesn't even really work. This theory is kind of weird though. I think it's trying to say that there was a better way for Erwin to go about many things without as much sacrifice. Hizuru are Eldian refugees. This theory suggests that Hizuru is actually another region of Eldians, but these Eldians aren't subjects of Ymir, and therefore they can't become Titans. Hizuru is the only nation in the world that tolerates Eldia, and this theory gives a reason to that. However, they don't tell anyone that they're Eldian because of the backlash that they would receive for doing so. The Attack Titan has always worked towards Eren's goals. Another theory which says that the will of the Attack Titan is the will of Eren Yeager. The best example of this is the Berserk mode we previously discussed, where the Attack Titan seems to go on autopilot to do Eren's bidding. Another part of this theory is that the future-telling ability is perfect for Eren's dreams. It's an interesting theory. Bertolt is the most powerful shifter. Manga spoilers. I think it's no secret that in terms of raw power, the Colossal Titan is the strongest of the nine. But this theory suggests that Bertolt had the strongest Titan overall. This theory is supported by the fact that he is seemingly more important than all previous Titans on the back of the Rumbling Titan. We also see that although strong, Armin could never reach the level Bertolt was once at. The pure destruction and raw power his Titan has throughout the series cannot be understated. And seeing what we did on the back of the Rumbling Titan, I wouldn't necessarily doubt Annie always had a crush on Armin. It's no secret that Annie and Armin are seemingly in love after she escapes the crystal, but perhaps even before this she liked him. This is most supported by the fact that despite him being extremely intelligent and being close to figuring out the secret of the Titan shifters, she still doesn't kill him given the perfect opportunity. Even later on, she tries to do everything she can to not kill Armin. This theory is very supported, and possibly even true. Attack on Schoolcast is the original timeline. I believe what this is referring to is that the actual story of Attack on Titan isn't true, and that Schoolcast is the real story. Just a story of 3 friends who want to watch a movie similar to AOT. This theory isn't really all that substantiated, but it still is interesting to consider. Erwin would support genocide. This theory suggests that if Erwin was given the Titan Serum instead of Armin, he would support Eren's rumbling. Erwin has been shown to not shy away from killing their enemies, even if human. Especially if Erwin had the ability to become the strongest Titan, I don't think he would show any mercy to the Marleyans. You may have seen this fan creation where Erwin becomes the Colossal Titan in a crowd of Marleyans and kills all of them. I don't think it's too far-fetched to believe that he would do something like this. Erwin and Eren both had a goal that they were willing to do anything for, and Erwin never cared about killing, so this theory may have a point. However, I doubt this will ever be confirmed. The source of all living matter is a Lovecraftian entity. First off, the source of all living matter is the shining centipede / hallucigenia that was the source of the Titan abilities. It's never really 100% explained what it is, and therefore some have labeled it as a Lovecraftian entity. Lovecraftian horror refers to a fear of an unknown force or power. The horror is also sometimes associated with a fear of a god or unstoppable entity. This almost perfectly describes the source of all living matter, and so many say it was an attempt at a Lovecraftian entity being written by Isayama. Violence caused by Titans is fuel for elder gods. As far as I know, this theory refers to the fact that Titans only serve to please some kind of higher power. Perhaps these gods watch them from paths and are only creating the Titans for their own personal gain. We'll elaborate on this in a second. North/South Pole don't exist. In the map of Attack on Titan, we can't actually see the North and South Pole, and so this has led many to believe that they don't exist. I'm not sure if there's really much more to this theory. The cycle will never end, no matter what. Manga spoilers. This is possibly my favorite Attack on Titan theory of all time, and it's basically not even a theory. Most of it is confirmed. What this states is that no matter what, the Titans or some power like them will always exist. Eren's final plan culminated in the destruction of the power of the Titans. The previously discussed source of all living matter also disappeared once Eren was killed. Mikasa would then bury Eren's head in a tree that would continuously grow extremely large, until hundreds of years later, we see a young boy venture into the tree, just like Ymir did. This suggests that no matter what Eren does, no matter what anyone does, Titans will continue to exist.
Oh my god, hold up!
Became the source of all living matter, which would create a new form of power, similar to Titans. This is also part of the Elder Gods theory. The gods won't let Titans die out for their own enjoyment, no matter what. The cycle of killing and destruction will never be fully extinguished, because those elder gods will always need their entertainment. Why is the fauna variety in parody so small? This question is about the lack of variety of animals in parody. The theory suggests that perhaps upon Eldians entering the island, the king killed all unique species that were on the island, leaving only some for necessary food for the royal family. This harkens back to the theory that the king was evil. We know that the island lacks a lot of animals, despite them living on the equivalent of Madagascar, which is known for having a large variety of animals. They don't even know that other animals like monkeys exist, supported by this line that Aaron says. What is the Titan Forest? Finally, we reach the last entry. The Titan Forest is a location within Parody that is never really elaborated on. It was said to previously be a tourist attraction, but this is most likely a lie. The forest has extremely large trees that are almost perfect for fighting Titans. So, what is it? Well, there are a few ideas.
I didn't change
One goes
it
back to the Elder Gods theory and suggests that the forest was created by them so that they could enjoy seeing humans sometimes triumph over Titans. This makes sense as the trees look extremely overgrown, something that a god certainly could do. Another theory suggests that this is where Ymir first gained her Titan abilities, and that the surge of life led all the trees to become extremely overgrown. Finally, one theory is that these trees have the same spinal fluid within them that makes Eldians Titans. We may, however, never know what these trees are, or what the other aspects of Attack on Titan has to do with them. And with all that done, thank you for watching. Also, look at this crazy statistic. Isn't that a lot of people on one side? Thanks for watching.
What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to explain every founding Titan in the history of Attack on Titan. At its full potential, this shifter is pretty much invincible, as it has control over every subject of Ymir, not to mention all Titans and Titan shifters. For 100 years, its powers were severely weakened due to the Varanasian War, but luckily for Eren, that bout only affects people who have royal blood. As a result, he can use its true abilities when the right conditions are met, which is unlike most of his recent predecessors. By my count, there are 10 characters who have used the Founder's power that we know of, and in this video I'll be going through the details of each one. In the process, we'll discuss the different ways they've used it, and where the power of the Titans even comes from. But spoiler warning ahead for the second half of the final season.
We're gonna do
If
this.
you're interested in more content like this, then do check out my Attack on Titan playlist, because I've now done a video on all the night shifters. Okay, so the first person on this list is Ymir Fritz, who was the original founding Titan 2,000 years ago.
My
For a
boy!
long time, it was speculated that her abilities came from some kind of deal with the devil, but I would argue the truth is even more bizarre. In the beginning, Ymir was a powerless child from a random village. However, one day her people were attacked by a tribe known as the Eldians. This tribe was led by a man called Karl Fritz, and they proceeded to kill Ymir's parents, cut out her tongue, and capture her as a slave for good measure. Soon afterwards, she was made to perform various tasks for the Eldians, alongside the other slaves, and this included things like transporting jugs of water and looking after the pigs. On one fateful day, she intentionally left the gate of the pig pen open,
I'm kind of
allowing one of the pigs to escape. And this decision, although it seemed harmless at first, unfortunately that choice would lead to billions and billions of deaths. By letting the animal go, she was almost immediately blamed for it, and Eldian soldiers were sent by Fritz to chase her through the forest. Even though the situation seemed hopeless, a wounded Ymir continued to stumble forward to survive, and this is where we come to the origin of the Titans. In chapter 137, Zeke gave Armin a lesson about how life on Earth began, and during that monologue we saw these organisms in the sea. The one on the left made a brief appearance during the season 2 opening, but the creature in the center is the real one we need to talk about. This type of worm is referred to as Hallucigenia, which is an extinct species that existed hundreds of millions of years ago in the real world. In the Attack on Titan universe though, a large mutated version of this creature existed during Ymir's lifetime, and it had the power to largen other things. Within the Eldian forest there was a massive tree that stood high above all others, and its size was likely caused by the Hallucigenia living underneath it. Of course, Ymir herself had no reason to suspect anything, so she walked into this tree thinking she'd have a place to hide, but soon fell down into the water below. As she desperately struggled for breath, the mutant worm quickly approached her and fused itself into her spine.
I don't know if we get this in time.
This merging of human and Hallucigenia is what led to the creation of the first founding Titan, with her invincible body towering over everything in sight. In terms of her design, this original Titan had distinctive features that we don't often see, like her protruding ribs and the fact her skull has no flesh whatsoever. While there is no official confirmation on her size, I'd estimate that she's at least taller than the Colossal, although let me know in the comments what you think her exact height might be. Now, despite her newfound power, Ymir returned to serve Karl Fritz in what was a strange turn of events. You'd assume she'd want revenge for him enslaving her and destroying her hometown, but instead she went on to obey him as a Titan for the following 13 years. Her Titan body also helped to build roads, bridges, and anything useful to LD's expansion, but importantly, she didn't have access to the Coordinates' full abilities. This will become clearer as the video goes on, but most of the Founder's powers only work on subjects of Ymir, who are the people descended from Ymir herself. Regular human beings are totally unaffected by things like memory manipulation, for example, so at this point in history she couldn't use its true potential. Regardless of that, the Eldian Empire was still able to expand at a ridiculously fast rate, and King Fritz became a very powerful individual. Ymir would go on to have 3 of his children over the years, with their names being Maria, Rose, and Sheena, which may sound familiar because the Wars on Paradis were named after them. On the day their mother died, the king was addressing his soldiers in the military when one of them rose up and straight up tried to assassinate him. He threw a spear at Fritz with pinpoint accuracy, but Ymir herself jumped in the way and took the fatal blow. While this was a serious injury, it's conceivable that a Titan Shifter should be able to survive this as long as they have the will to live. It's probable that Ymir's will to live vanished when she looked up at King Fritz, as the two of them made direct eye contact after she was attacked. In that moment, her daughters were crying, but the king himself showed no emotion despite the fact she just saved his life. He simply told her to stand up and get back to work, and only when she heard this did her eyes begin to close. Her soul was reborn in what we now know to be the past dimension, and from there she would have probably the worst job of all time. In all the times people have been using the Titans, it was Ymir who was creating those Titan bodies out of sand and then sending the flesh and bones to that person through parts. In the final chapter, Armin questioned why Ymir would continue to obey Fritz and do all these things for 2,000 years, with Eren confirming it was because she loved him. Clearly we know the king did not love her back, but in dying she still followed his final order to work because she felt connected to the world she left behind. Before we move on to the next founding Titan, we should probably mention the Curse of Ymir, which is something that affects all Titan shifters. Since she died 13 years after getting her Titan, none of her descendants are able to surpass that length of time, with their bodies deteriorating when the time gets closer. Admittedly, this affects different people in different ways, as Grisha Yeager looked pretty normal when his time was about to run out, whereas Uri Rice was in his 30s looking like he was about to drop dead. It's unclear why exactly the Curse of Ymir exists. I mean, does Ymir intentionally make that happen, or is it the will of the Coordinate? I mean, we just don't know, but either way, it's an unavoidable thing that every shifter goes through. With that said, the second founding Titan we know about is one of Ymir's daughters, and I'm going to explain how this led to the creation of the present-day royal bloodline. After Ymir's death, Fritz was desperate for the Titans not to disappear, so he forced his daughters to eat every last piece of her body. This is similar to how people in the present will turn into pure Titans before eating a shifter, but the main thing they have in common is that you need to eat the spine. The spine is of course where the Lucigenia first connected to Ymir, so by Mario, Rose, and Sheena eating it, the Titan powers were split between them. Two of them would have inherited hybrid Titans that are a mix of the 8 shifters we know today, but only one child would have inherited the true founding Titan. As Gabby said, this ancient one is the Coordinate, so it lived on inside whichever sister had the founder, while the other two shifters were simply connected to it. This ties into the topic of the royal bloodline, which has always been one of the more convoluted aspects of this series. By now we should know that only those with royal blood can activate the founder's true potential by themselves, whereas for normies like Eren there are more steps involved. The problem with this is that if you go all the way back, every subject of Ymir derives from these two common ancestors, meaning that, whichever Eldian you're looking at, they all have Fritz's blood inside them no matter how small it may be. Why is it then that Eldians like Zeke are considered to be royalty, whereas everyone else doesn't get those same benefits? One line of thinking is that maybe not all of the daughters were Fritz's children, although I personally doubt that theory because, he clearly thought they were his daughters, and it's inconceivable that Ymir would cheat. Therefore, my own theory as to why certain characters have royal blood can be traced back to this moment in the past dimension. Here we see the Coordinate in the center, and out of it are 3 separate parts, each one representing Maria, Rose, and Sheena respectively. Although all 3 of them technically have royal blood, like I said earlier, only one of these daughters inherited the founder's power and carried on the Fritz family name. Purely for example, if we assume that Maria is the sister that had the founding Titan, her children and her children's children would be the ones that Ymir considered to be royal-blooded, since that offshoot of the family would repeatedly go to Paz and tell her what to do. It was individuals from their specific branch of the family that gave Ymir orders for the next 2,000 years, and this lineage continued all the way up until Historia and Zeke. No matter how many subjects of Ymir there might be, it all still traces back to these 3 branches, so I feel like this could explain the difference between who Ymir does and doesn't choose to obey. I suspect that when an Eldian like Grisha has a baby with a royal, that child is added to Mari's branch of the tree, but in any other scenario a child is born to the Rose or Sheena path instead. Anyway, the third founding Titan in this video was an Eldian king from 600 years before the present day of the series. Sava spoke about this king in season 4 and how he used the Coordinate to alter the bodies of every subject of Ymir. At the time, the world was being ravaged by a deadly disease, but overnight the king redesigned the bodies of millions of Eldians so that they were all totally immune. This body modification is one of the founder's most wide-ranging abilities, and unsurprisingly it has also been used to create pure titans throughout history. Zeke's power to make pure titans himself is a lesser version of that same ability, since his scream only works on those who've ingested his spinal fluid. The fourth founder we know is Karl Fritz, who was the 145th king of the Eldian Empire, and the one who ruled everything. Don't get me wrong, by now the Eldians have been a menace to the world for a long time, but Karl's solution to this problem was less than ideal. Just ask anyone who died in the first 3 seasons. During Lee Tyler's big production, we got an actor to play the role of Fritz, and this speech gave us an insight into the former king's mentality. Carl was a guy who felt immense guilt for his sins in the Eldian race,
Bro,
since for
they
years
just
they've been
getting-
forcibly spreading the blood of Ymir across the globe,
bro.
and then using Titans to wipe out entire groups of people. He
Aurelia
felt
is
immense
so
sympathy
bad.
for Marley in particular,
This
and believed that
Thresh
nothing
is
Eldia
not
could do could
good.
atone
This
for the
Varus
lives they've
isn't
destroyed.
good, bro. We
To add
just
to all of this,
so
the Great Titan War
bad.
was also raging on during Karl's
But
lifetime,
we did so much
in which
damage
the
in there
noble
that they can't
families of
even
Eldia had a
leave, for
civil war
real.
using the other 8 Titan shifters. This
Look at
was
our shit,
essentially
look
the
at their
final
shit.
straw for him, as the infighting made him realize
Like,
that the
look, we
Titan powers,
sell
especially
it.
the founder, must be kept out of human hands. His solution to all of this began when he inherited the coordinate himself, as he conspired to take down the Eldian Empire. There were many different stages to Fritz's plan, but it
Shit
started when he
versus-
guaranteed the Titan family's safety in
That's what I
exchange for
saw
them helping
earlier.
Marley to take back control.
I
Together
forgot
they
what it
made up
was,
a fake Malian
what
hero
the-
named Helos,
what-
who would
what
go on to
was
be
it?
known as the one who defeated Eldia with the help of the Tigers. The story goes that
Shit
Helos
versus
manipulated
food.
different
Uh,
noble
what
families
was
into
it?
killing
What
each
was
other, and then somehow
I don't
forced
remember
Fritz
what
to
the
retreat
video
to
was
Paradise
about.
Island.
It
In
was
reality,
something
the
bad
king
versus
wanted
something
to flee to
bad.
the island, and he brought with him as many Eldians as he could, not to mention many non-subjects of Ymir, such as the Asian clan, and also those who would later be known as nobles. It goes without saying that he would still leave many of his people behind on the continent, as well as members of the royal family who would later be whittled down to
Aurelia's
just Zeke.
dad is
In the king's absence, the Eldian
Really
Empire
quite fun
continued to
here.
crumble, and the Tigers assisted Marley in stealing 7 of the 9 shifters for itself,
saying.
with the Attack Titan being the only one to evade capture. Back on the island itself, Fritz wanted to create a peaceful society free of war, and he used the Founder's power to try and make that a reality. His first action was to materialize tens of
I'm gonna
millions
push
of
that.
Colossus Titans, which I imagine took Ymir quite a long time in paths. When those Titans were in position,
long as they don't
Karl
die.
utilized their hardening ability to erect the 3 walls we know today,
An
and their names
enemy
were of
has
course
been
Mario,
slain.
Rose, and Sheena. Within these walls is where his new society would be made to live,
Stay alert.
but in true Thanos
Stay
style,
aggressive.
the king didn't think it could be paradise if people still remembered what existed before.
Why are you guys up
That's
here?
why he transformed into his founding Titan and erased the memories of nearly all people on the island. He made them believe they were the last survivors of the human race, and that these walls were constructed to protect them from the Titans. On the flip side though, the Ackermans were among a select group of families unaffected by the king's memory manipulation. Their knowledge of the outside world was a threat to the paradise that Karl was trying to create, so he offered them noble status and privilege to guarantee their silence. While some bloodlines accepted this offer, the Ackermans and Asians rejected it as they disagreed with the king's ideology. The king did not take this well, as you can understand, and to preserve his definition of peace, Karl had them hunted down through the generations until there were virtually none left, hence why there is only one half Asian and a handful of Ackermans in the present day. Now, in an
Yeah, bro,
act
we're
of
absolutely
self-protection,
selling.
the king then changed the royal family's name from Fritz to Rice, and then he had a random
Morgana
noble
doing
family take on the
whatever
Fritz
she's
name
doing
instead.
down there.
The new Fritz family would pretend to be the monarchs for the next 100 years, but in reality it would be the Rices who were really in charge behind the scenes. Sometime after
Bro, we
this,
sell
Karl
it.
used his abilities again to create the Rice Chapel, which is where the royals passed on the coordinate for generations, at least until Grisha rudely interrupted them. Overall, the king's mindset was that Eldia's past crimes could never be forgiven, and that he would accept it if Marley one day came to destroy the island. His dream was to live in a peaceful
I don't
society
even know
until
this
that
game's
day
gone
comes,
too long.
and
My
by
head
making a
is
vow to renounce war, future founding titans were possessed by that same ideology. Last thing to mention on Karl is that he made a threat to the world that he would activate the rumbling if they tried to attack. However, as Willy Tybur revealed, that was just a empty threat, and he only said it to prolong the peace on Paradise.
Yo, Bali, lock in.
Fast forward many decades later, and the next founder we saw was an unnamed man from the royal family.
Some call me
He was the father to both Rod and Uri
have no
Rice,
idea
both of whom would constantly beg him to eradicate the Pure Titans. Due to the vow-renouncing war, he never once made an attempt to do this, which is something his sons couldn't understand. Based on his personal library here, he clearly enjoyed reading, but when Rod bothered him too much, he'd lock his son inside a dungeon. Doesn't really seem like a proportionate response, but you know, if you're the king of the walls, I guess you can do what you want.
I was surrounded.
Eventually the time came for one of his sons to become the next founder, and Uri was certain he'd be able to do what his father couldn't. Sadly though, after inheriting his Titan, he was immediately consumed by Karl Fritz's vow-renouncing war, and never spoke again about destroying the Titans outside the walls. In a flashback scene, we get a small look at the design of his founding Titan, although the form was mostly incomplete. On this day, the two Reich brothers had been traveling together, but were ambushed by Kenny Ackerman, who was given their location by a royal government official. Knowing they had been betrayed by someone, the king was eager to find out who told Kenny where they'd be, but he couldn't use the founder's power to make him talk. As an Ackerman, Kenny was immune from those type of mind games, which like I said is part of the reason they were hunted down and persecuted. Uri therefore understood why someone from that clan would want to kill him, which is why even with a knife in his arm, it was the king who apologized and bowed down. Following this encounter, the two of them actually became friends, with Uri putting an end to the Ackerman's persecution, at least in a official capacity. He then hired Kenny to be a fixer for the Rice family, and over the years it's implied the two of them were quite candid with each other, with the king even telling him that his power was going to be transferred. During his time as the Founding Titan, Uri frequently gave sermons about peace to those within his inner circle, including the Interior Police and of course Kenny. As his 13 years came closer to an end, the curse of Ymir really started to make him look like an old man. He had grey hair, wrinkles, and a walking stick, which means his Titan regeneration must have also been getting really slow with old age. One interesting thing about Uri is that he predicted the world would be destroyed in the not too distant future, and at first I thought this statement referred to his warriors invading the islands. Given the context we have now though, it's likely to Sayama wrote this line with the rumbling on his mind instead. Moving on, Frida Rice became the new Founding Titan in the year 842, and just like Uri, she thought she could overcome the will of Karl Fritz. Spoiler alert, she couldn't, but let's explain who she is in the first place. By all accounts, Frida was one of the nicest characters in the series, and was the eldest daughter of Rod Rice. Whereas Rod completely ignored the existence of his youngest child, Historia, it was Frida that went out of her way to teach the girl to read, write, and ride horses. In many ways, it was her influence that made Historia the humble person she became, and at the age of 15, Frida inherited the Founding Titan. Choosing to eat your uncle is never an easy decision, but she did it to save humanity from the Titans because, like I said, she thought she could override the vow-renouncing war. After gaining the Founder, she would begin to give speeches like her uncle used to do, and in her spare time she played with Historia and then wipe her memory afterwards. She did this to protect her younger half-sister, since being of royal blood does tend to put a target on someone's back. Historia noted how sometimes Frida would act like a totally different person, and these moments were when the king's will was the strongest. The best example, in my opinion, is when Grisha confronted her in the Rice Chapel, because Frida's entire speech was literally spoken as if it was Karl Fritz himself. In terms of her Founding Titan's design, she didn't have the exposed ribs or long arms of her predecessors, and her height was slightly shorter than Grisha's Attack Titan. As a result of the vow-renouncing war, she was defeated pretty easily by Grisha, even though her shifter is in theory meant to be unbeatable. On a random note, there was that one occasion when Eren witnessed a memory of Frida brushing her hair, and the anime definitely made it seem like she saw him looking at her. Whether she actually did or not is up for debate, because as Grisha said, she never really had access to the Founder's full potential, given that the vow-renouncing war severely limits what she can do. Following that fight, the 8th Founder in this video is of course Grisha Yeager, who is responsible for merging the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan into one body. All things considered, he had this power for a really short time, as he stole it from Frida and then forcibly made Eren eat him not long after that. There was never really a scenario in which Grisha could have actually used the coordinate, but rather his sole purpose was to transfer the power from the Rice family to Yeager. Being an Eldian restorationist, he had wanted this Titan taken from the royal family for a long time, but I'm sure he never imagined it would be up to him, given that he wanted his wife to take it at first and then he wanted his son to take it, but no, he ended up being the one trusted to do it. To his credit, he did locate the true royal family after only a few years.
Why are we throwing?
4 warriors. I mean, first of all, it's way more impressive.
Bro, what is this game?
It might have been more successful if they sent experienced adults like Grisha or people like that, rather than 12-year-old kids. Anyway, on the first occasion he visited the Rice Chapel, he chose not to confront the royals for the sake of his family, but he would eventually return on the day Marley invaded. As I explained in my video about every Attack Titan, it was Eren from the future that motivated Grisha to kill Frida in the first place, but that wouldn't have been possible without the unknowing help of Grisha's first son.
11 and 11.
Zeke Yeager is the next person on this list to have used the Founder's power, and he was the first royal in over a century to have access to its full potential. While it is true that he didn't have a physical Founding Titan body, his use of its power
can you
is
just
an essential
relax
part of
a little
the story that
bit?
can't be overlooked. A while ago, it was established that if a Titan of royal blood makes contact with the Founder, then that person can get around its limitations. We witnessed this firsthand when Eren commanded an army of pure Titans after touching down on Fritz, despite the fact he's a regular Eldian who shouldn't be able to use the coordinate. The second time Eren touched a royal-blooded Titan was when his decapitated head fell into Zeke's hands, but this time there was a twist. Unlike previous royals, Zeke arrived here without being tainted by the will of King Fritz, meaning he was free to command Ymir however he wanted. After spending a long time in this realm before Eren arrived, he learnt about the extent of Ymir's abilities and how she's a slave to royal-blooded individuals. On a basic level, whoever Ymir listens to is the one that controls the Founder, and she initially listened to Zeke because he has royal blood. In his very brief time in charge of the Founder, the eldest Yeager brother tried to use this power for 4 main things. Number 1 is that he created these easily breakable chains around his body, as he wanted to pretend he was trapped by the vow-to-renounce war. This was part of Zeke's test to see if Eren was really on his side, and it was a test that was very quickly fed. Number 2 is that he made some actual chains to restrict Eren, and these ones were so tough that Eren had to rip his thumbs off to break free. The third and most game-changing use of this power was when he physically took his brother into their father's memories, since he was trying to prove that Grisha had brainwashed Eren.
Crazy comeback from them, bro.
Zeke unknowingly gave his brothers a chance to talk to the memory of their father, and then send that message back to the real Grisha in the past. The real Grisha was able to
Crazy.
see those memories due to the future memory inheritance
Wow.
of the Attack Titan, but Zeke never knew this could happen because he didn't know about that ability. In this way, Eren was able to manipulate the past and make his father kill Frieda. However, it was only possible because Zeke took Eren into that memory in the first place. The fourth way Zeke tried to use the Founder was more of a fail, as he commanded Ymir to sterilize all Eldians across the globe.
Volleybird fucking